You can have the skills, the tools, and the plan, but without the right mindset, success will always feel out of reach. The way you think controls how far you go and how long you keep going. Most people lose before they even start. They let doubt, fear, and pressure talk them out of the life they want. Today we will talk about why success is 80% mindset and how one audiobook can completely shift the way you think. This isn't just about staying positive. It's about building mental strength, focus, and belief that doesn't break when life gets hard. The right mindset doesn't just help you survive. It helps you win. You'll learn how this audiobook teaches real mental habits that push you forward every single day. If you've been looking for a mindset upgrade that actually sticks, you're in the right place. If you're ready to train your mind for the success you deserve, then let's dive in. Number 1, start your day with intentional positive self-talk. Most people wake up and their first thoughts are worry. They think about bills. They think about what went wrong yesterday. They think about what they don't have, what they haven't done, and all the ways they feel behind in life. They grab their phones, scroll through someone else's life, and compare it to their own. Before the day even begins, they've lost. Not because the world beat them, but because their own thoughts beat them. The mind didn't wait until noon to bring them down. It got to work the second their eyes opened. That's where most people start the day. Not with hope, but with hesitation. Not with strength, but with stress. And that's exactly why mindset matters more than any plan or goal. Because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if your thoughts don't support you, you won't act on it. What you say to yourself in the morning sets the tone for the rest of your day. And if you let your mind wander without direction, it will almost always drift toward fear, doubt, and excuses. That's just how it works. You have to take control of your thoughts early before they take control of you. The first few minutes of your day are powerful. They either lift you up or pull you down. That's why you've got to start with intention. Not just noise in your head, but intentional self-talk that reminds you who you are, what matters, and what you're capable of doing. You don't need fancy words. Just speak truth. Real truth. You remind yourself, I am responsible for how today goes. I can handle what's ahead. I am not my past. I am not my failures. I am not anyone's opinion of me. I will face today with strength. I will choose focus over fear. I will lead myself, no matter how I feel. Say it out loud. Say it until your body starts to feel it. Speak it until your posture changes. Because when your mind hears strong language, it begins to shift into strength. That's not hype. That's reality. Your thoughts trigger emotions, and your emotions decide your actions. Now some people hear this and roll their eyes. They think it's soft. They think talking to yourself is silly. But they're talking to themselves all day anyway. It just happens to be negative, and it's running their life. They're feeding themselves worry, self-doubt, regret, and comparison, and they wonder why they're stuck. You see, if you're going to talk to yourself anyway, you might as well do it on purpose. With direction. With focus. That's what winners do. They don't leave the most powerful force in their life, their thoughts, to chance. You've got to program your mind before the world does, because the world will tell you you're not enough. It'll sell you fear and distraction. It'll remind you of what's missing, not what's possible. So it's on you to start your day by telling yourself the truth. The kind of truth that fuels action. The kind of truth that doesn't depend on mood. Because there are days when you won't feel motivated. There are mornings when you'll feel tired or unsure. That's when the words you speak to yourself matter most. You don't get stronger by hoping. You get stronger by doing. And part of that doing starts in your head. Think of how many days you've lost simply because your own voice talked you out of trying. You were good enough. You were ready. You had time. But your mindset didn't agree. And that's all it takes to lose a day. One thought that says, you can't, followed by silence from you. Don't let your doubt have the last word. Answer it. Answer it every single morning. You don't have to scream. You just have to be clear. Every day you remind yourself, today is mine to lead. I won't be perfect, but I will be present. I won't control everything, but I will control myself. I'm not running from struggle, I'm growing through it. That kind of thinking shapes how you show up to life. It affects the way you walk into a meeting. It affects the way you talk to people. It affects your energy. And let me tell you something, energy is contagious. You walk into a room with belief in your eyes, and people feel it. You show up to your work with ownership, and people trust you more. That all starts in your mind. The person you become is built by the thoughts you choose when no one's watching. It's not what happens in the spotlight. It's what happens in the quiet. The small choices, the little conversations with yourself. That's where confidence is built. Not the loud kind. Not the fake kind. The kind that doesn't depend on applause or results. The kind that's steady. That's internal. That's earned every single morning by choosing thoughts that serve your future. When you start the day with intentional self-talk, you stop waiting to feel good. You stop waiting for things to go right. You create the right atmosphere in your own mind. You build your own energy, and that energy carries into everything you do. You stop reacting to life and start responding with purpose. You stop complaining and start taking ownership. It's not about ignoring the hard parts. It's about reminding yourself that you can face them. There will be days when life hits you. Days when plans break, people disappoint, and things don't go your way. But if your mindset is strong, you won't collapse. You'll adjust. You'll breathe. You'll take the next step, because you've already spent the morning telling yourself the truth. You've trained yourself to stay centered when things shake around you. That's not theory. That's the kind of mindset that builds resilience. This isn't a one-time trick. This is daily work. Real work. You've got to do it even when you don't feel like it. Especially then, because what you do when it's hard matters more than what you do when it's easy. And the first battle of the day is always in your own mind. Win that and you've got momentum. Lose it and the rest of the day feels heavier than it should. People want better results in life, but they're not willing to change the way they think. They want confidence without challenge. They want progress without discomfort. But that's not how it works. Success is 80% mindset, which means most of your progress will depend on what happens in your head before it ever shows up in your actions. That's where the fight is. That's where the foundation is built. And it begins in the morning. When the alarm goes off and you feel that pull to hit snooze. When the doubts start whispering before you even get out of bed. That's the moment. That's when you start training. That's when you talk to yourself like someone who deserves a chance. Someone who's capable of more. Someone who's not going to let fear win today. Don't wait for someone else to encourage you. Do it yourself. And do it early. Do it while brushing your teeth. Do it while tying your shoes. Do it while looking at the day ahead. Speak strength into your own life. Not fluff. Not hype. Just honest belief backed by truth. Number 2. Visualize success before starting any major task. Most people start big tasks with pressure in their chest and doubt in their heads. They open the laptop, walk into the room, or sit in front of the opportunity with hesitation, not clarity. They think about everything that could go wrong. They imagine judgment. They play scenes in their mind of themselves messing up, forgetting, falling short, being ignored. And without realizing it, they walk into the moment already defeated. Not because they're not capable, but because they never saw themselves succeed. They never gave their brain a picture of victory to follow. They let fear write the script and they memorized it. What you see in your mind before you start something is one of the most powerful forces behind how you perform. Most people skip this step. They rush in, hope for the best, and then wonder why things feel heavy or off. But the human mind doesn't run on luck. It runs on direction. It needs something to aim at. It needs clarity. When you give it a clear image of success, it starts to work with you, not against you. You stop moving with fear and start moving with purpose. Visualizing success isn't fantasy, it's preparation. It's mental rehearsal. Athletes do it before stepping onto the court. Performers do it before stepping on stage. High performers in every industry know that before the world sees them succeed, they already saw it in their own mind step by step, frame by frame. They pictured themselves speaking with confidence, handling stress with calm, navigating the moment with strength. That mental picture didn't just help them stay calm. It trained their body how to respond before it ever had to. You've got to learn how to walk through a win in your mind before you ever chase it in reality. You sit quietly. You breathe slowly. You bring the task to the front of your mind. You see yourself doing it, not in vague terms, clear and specific. You imagine the way you'll stand, the way you'll speak, the way your eyes will look steady, not shaky. You hear your voice strong and grounded. You imagine how you'll respond if something goes wrong. You imagine staying steady through pressure. You feel the emotions that come with finishing it well. You sit with that picture long enough for it to become familiar. Why does this work? Because your brain doesn't always know the difference between what's vividly imagined and what's real. It starts building emotional associations around what you visualize. That means when you walk into the task, your mind has already rehearsed the feelings of strength, focus, and follow-through. You've given it something real to work with. Instead of reacting with stress, it moves toward what's familiar. And if what's familiar is calm confidence, that's exactly how you'll show up. The problem is, most people rehearse the wrong thing. They imagine failing. They picture embarrassment. They anticipate rejection. Then they call it overthinking. But it's not overthinking, it's just undirected thinking. You can't stop your mind from imagining. That's not the goal. The goal is to take the wheel and direct it toward what builds you, not what breaks you. That takes practice, not just hope. Every major task needs a moment before it, a pause, a reset. You can't run from one thing to the next and expect to be centered. You need time to visualize, time to align. It doesn't have to be long. Even 3 minutes can be powerful. But those 3 minutes must be focused. No noise. No distraction. Just you and the mental movie of what success will look like for that moment. You don't imagine perfection. You imagine presence, ownership, progress. You imagine yourself rising to the level you know you're capable of, even if it's been buried for a while. Think back to your best moments, times you rose up, times you handled pressure well, times you followed through when it counted. You didn't just act, you saw something in yourself first. Maybe you didn't know it at the time, but your brain had a model to follow. You believed it was possible, and that belief showed up in your actions. That's the power of visualizing. It creates a blueprint for your behavior. When you skip it, you leave yourself open to whatever mood you're in, whatever fear pops up, whatever distraction gets loud. But when you take time to visualize, you give your mind a script that serves your success. Now, don't misunderstand, visualizing isn't magic. You still have to do the work. But it removes some of the internal resistance that makes the work harder than it needs to be. It gives you a head start. You start the task with belief, not doubt. That's a different energy. That's a different outcome. Because most people don't fail from lack of talent, they fail from lack of clarity. They never slowed down long enough to mentally prepare. And when you don't prepare your mind, pressure overwhelms you and your body follows. When you build the habit of visualizing success, you also start to trust yourself more. You stop second-guessing every step. You stop assuming the worst. You begin each major task with a mindset of, I know how this goes. I've walked through it already. I've seen it. I'm ready. That inner trust shows up in the way you move, the way you speak, the way you make decisions. People can feel that. Opportunities respond to that. One of the most important things you can do before anything important is get quiet and go internal. You ask yourself, what does success look like here, not for someone else, but for me? And then you see it. You see yourself showing up the way you wish you would. Not just getting through it, but owning it, leading it, And if you do that consistently, the image in your head becomes the life you start to live. Because the mind leads and the body follows. It's not just about outcomes either. It's about how you carry yourself through the process. That's what visualizing trains. It trains your composure, your decision-making, your ability to stay locked in when distractions show up. It trains your nervous system to stay calm under tension. That kind of training makes all the difference in real-world performance. Because real life is unpredictable. You won't control every detail. But if you've visualized how you want to show up, you'll be ready no matter what the moment throws at you. This is a habit you build. Every major task, every challenge, every opportunity, you take time beforehand. You shut everything else out. You breathe. You visualize. You step into the version of yourself that handles the moment with strength, and you bring that version into reality, again and again, until it becomes who you are, not just in your head, but in the world. That's not a trick. That's growth. That's strategy. That's how success starts, not when the task begins, but when the mind decides how it will show up. Number 3, reframe failures as necessary steps to grow. Failure is one of the hardest things people face. Most people don't just dislike failure, they fear it. It feels like an end, a loss, a sign that they aren't good enough or smart enough. Failure carries a weight that can crush your spirit and make you question your worth. People avoid it like the plague. They pretend it didn't happen. They blame others or circumstances. Sometimes they even stop trying altogether, letting failure become a permanent excuse instead of a temporary setback. This is the reality many face. Failure feels like a stop sign in life, but what if it's not? What if it's a starting line disguised as a wall? The way you think about failure shapes everything that follows. Most people see failure as a verdict, a final judgment that they aren't cut out for success. That mindset keeps them stuck, frozen in place, afraid to move forward. But failure isn't a verdict. It's information. It's feedback. It's the price you pay for trying. It's not comfortable and it's not easy, but it's necessary. Every successful person you know has faced failure. What sets them apart isn't that they avoided failure, it's that they didn't let failure stop them. Reframing failure means shifting how you see it. Instead of a brick wall, see it as a stepping stone. Instead of a full stop, see it as a comma. This is not about ignoring the pain or disappointment that comes with falling short. Those feelings are real and valid, but you don't have to be a prisoner to those feelings. You can acknowledge them, learn from them, and move on stronger than before. Failure becomes the teacher, not the enemy. When you experience failure, it's tempting to focus on what went wrong. That's natural, but if you stay stuck there, you miss the point. The real power comes when you look deeper, when you ask, what is this trying to teach me? What do I need to understand so I don't repeat the same mistake? How can this make me better? That mindset creates a kind of resilience that turns every setback into a setup for a comeback. Think about it. Every skill you've ever developed, every goal you've ever reached, required failure first. When you learned to walk, you fell dozens of times. When you learned to speak, you fumbled words and made mistakes. Those failures didn't stop you. They were essential steps. Without those stumbles, you wouldn't be where you are today. Success doesn't come from perfection. It comes from persistence, despite imperfection. It's important to remember that failure doesn't define you. Your response to failure does. When you reframe failure, you stop giving it power to control your story. Instead of telling yourself, I'm a failure, you tell yourself, I'm learning, I'm growing, this is part of my journey. That change in language changes your brain chemistry. It changes your energy. It changes your future. There's a quiet strength in accepting failure as a normal part of growth. It frees you from the pressure to be perfect. It gives you permission to take risks, to try new things, to push beyond your comfort zone. Because when you aren't afraid of failing, you open yourself up to real progress. You stop playing small. You start aiming higher. You keep moving forward, even when it's hard. This mindset shift doesn't happen overnight. It takes effort to change old habits of thinking. It takes courage to face your mistakes without running away. But every time you choose to see failure as a step instead of a stop, you build mental muscle. You train your mind to keep going when things get tough. You prove to yourself that failure isn't the end of your story, it's just a chapter. Some of the most inspiring stories you've heard aren't about people who never failed, they're about people who failed and refused to quit. They used failure to fuel their drive. They looked at their setbacks and asked, "What can I do differently? How can I improve?" That kind of thinking transforms obstacles into opportunities. It turns pain into power. It's also important to share your failures with others. Talking about your mistakes doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. It connects you with people who've been there. It reminds you that you're not alone. When you hear others' stories of failure and recovery, you gain perspective and strength. You learn that failure is a universal experience, not a personal flaw. Reframing failure means taking responsibility for your growth. It means saying, "This didn't work, but I'm not done. I'm not defeated. I'm committed to learning and improving." That commitment makes all the difference between quitting and continuing. It's the difference between giving up and growing up. The truth is, failure will come. It's inevitable. Life doesn't guarantee success without struggle, but the people who succeed are the ones who meet failure head-on. They don't deny it or hide from it. They accept it, learn from it, and move forward. That acceptance isn't easy, but it's necessary. It's the foundation of resilience. When you make failure part of your learning process, you stop fearing it. You stop avoiding risk. You stop shrinking from challenges. Instead, you embrace the process of growth, knowing that each failure is a building block for your future success. You begin to see that failure isn't your enemy, it's your ally in disguise. In every failure, there is a lesson waiting to be uncovered. It may be about your approach, your attitude, your preparation, or your perseverance. Sometimes, failure teaches humility. Sometimes, it teaches creativity. Sometimes, it teaches patience. Whatever the lesson is, it's valuable. You can choose to ignore it or to learn from it. Choosing to learn is what separates those who move forward from those who stay stuck. You don't have to carry failure as a burden. You can carry it as experience. You can carry it as proof that you dared to try. That's a powerful place to stand. It's not comfortable, but it's real. And real is where growth happens. When you stop fearing failure and start using it, you become unstoppable. You'll notice that as you reframe failure, you'll start to take on bigger challenges. You won't hesitate as much. You won't doubt yourself as often. You'll move with more confidence because you know failure isn't the end of the road. It's a signpost pointing you toward improvement. It's a reminder that you're alive, learning, and growing. Failures will still sting. They still hurt, but their power over you will fade. You'll stop avoiding the hard work. You'll stop holding back. Because you realize that failure isn't a threat, it's a part of the process. And that mindset gives you freedom. Freedom to try, freedom to grow, freedom to succeed on your terms. Failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is a part of success. It's the bridge you cross to get from where you are to where you want to be. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you start moving forward with strength. The sooner you start using failure as fuel instead of fear, the more unstoppable you become. Growth is not a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, and setbacks. But those setbacks don't mean you're broken. They mean you're human. And every step you take through failure, every lesson you learn, builds the foundation for the success you deserve. Number 4. Focus only on what you can control daily. Every day, most people find themselves overwhelmed by things beyond their reach. They worry about the economy, what others say, the unpredictable nature of life, and circumstances that shift without warning. That worry consumes their energy and distracts them from progress. It's exhausting and often leads to frustration because so much of what happens feels random or unfair. This is a reality many face, losing precious time and mental space trying to control the uncontrollable. It's a heavy burden, and it drags people down without even helping them get closer to their goals. The truth is, real power lies in focusing on what's within your control, what you can influence and change today. When you zero in on your own actions, your own decisions, your attitude, and your effort, you shift from feeling powerless to feeling capable. You stop reacting to external chaos and start creating your own order. That shift is the foundation of success. It might seem simple, but it's one of the most overlooked secrets in life. Think about the mornings you wake up feeling anxious or stressed because something outside your control is causing worry. Maybe it's a difficult conversation, a financial uncertainty, or a sudden change in plans. When your mind drifts to those worries, you lose focus on what you can do. You lose time that could be spent improving yourself, making progress, or building momentum. Instead, you get stuck in a cycle of fear and doubt that keeps you trapped. By focusing only on what you can control, you reclaim your power. You create a shield against the noise of the world. You decide where your energy goes instead of letting circumstances decide it for you. That control starts with your mindset. You choose how you respond to events, not the events themselves. You decide whether to take positive action or fall into frustration. You determine how hard you work, how much patience you have, and how consistently you show up. When you practice this focus daily, you begin to see results. You might not fix every problem or change every situation, but you do improve your position. You build habits that lead to growth. You make small wins that add up over time. Those wins build confidence and open doors. On the other hand, when you focus on what you cannot control, you drain your energy and stay stuck. It's like trying to row a boat while holding onto an anchor. The effort is there, but the results don't follow. It helps to have clear boundaries about what's controllable. Your thoughts are controllable. Your attitude is controllable. Your actions are controllable. Your habits are controllable. Your daily choices, what you read, what you say, how you treat others, are controllable. Your level of preparation, your willingness to learn, and how you spend your time, these are all within your reach. Recognizing this is empowering because it gives you a starting point every single day. When challenges come, because they always do, you can remind yourself, what can I do right now? What's within my power? Instead of wasting time on what-ifs or blaming external factors, you ask yourself what the next step is. That discipline not only conserves your energy, but sharpens your focus. You stop chasing distractions and start making meaningful progress. And that progress fuels motivation, which fuels more action. This focus also improves your emotional health. When you obsess over things beyond your control, it leads to stress, anxiety, and helplessness. But when you concentrate on what you can change, you feel more grounded and confident. You develop a mindset of solution-seeking instead of problem-dwelling. That mindset makes every obstacle feel like a challenge to work through, not a mountain that crushes your spirit. Another benefit is that focusing on your circle of control helps build resilience. Life will throw curveballs, unexpected setbacks, delays, disappointments. Those moments test your mindset. But if you've trained yourself to keep your attention on what you can do, you won't be knocked off course so easily. You'll adjust your approach, keep your focus, and continue moving forward. Resilience grows because you aren't wasting time and energy fighting battles you can't win. It's natural to want to influence everything around you, people, outcomes, the way others behave. But the truth is, you only have power over yourself. Trying to control others or external events leads to frustration and disappointment. Instead, when you accept your limits and concentrate on your own role, you find peace in action. You create the conditions for success by mastering your own world first. This way of thinking requires practice and commitment. It means letting go of the illusion that you have control over everything. It means training your mind to return to what matters when distractions arise. Some days will be harder than others, and old habits of worry or blame will sneak in. But every time you refocus on your own influence, you strengthen your ability to handle life's uncertainties. One practical way to do this is to start each day by writing down what you can control today. What actions are in your power? What attitudes can you choose? What goals can you move closer to? By clarifying these things, you set a clear path forward and reduce the noise that clouds your mind. It's a habit that protects your energy and guides your efforts. Another key is to avoid getting caught in social media drama, news overload, or toxic conversations that pull your attention to uncontrollable problems. Protect your mind by limiting exposure to negativity and focusing instead on growth and solutions. This discipline helps maintain your focus on what's real and actionable rather than what's hypothetical or overwhelming. It's also important to remember that focusing on what you can control doesn't mean ignoring big problems. It means breaking them down into parts you can influence and tackling those parts one at a time. Even in situations that seem impossible, you have choices about your attitude, your preparation, and your persistence. Those small choices build up and create change. As you practice this daily, you'll notice something remarkable. The noise around you becomes less distracting. You feel less overwhelmed. You gain clarity on your purpose and your path. You become more effective because your energy is focused where it counts. And when you focus your energy on what you can control, you become unstoppable. You start to create your own momentum instead of reacting to the world's ups and downs. Success is not about having control over everything. It's about having control over yourself and your response to everything. When you master that, you master the foundation of all progress. Your mindset shapes your reality, and focusing only on what you can control daily is the key to building that mindset. It frees you from frustration and puts you in charge of your life. It's not easy, but it's simple, and it's where success truly begins. Number 5. Surround yourself with growth-minded, positive people. One of the biggest struggles most people face is loneliness in their journey towards success. They push hard, put in the effort, but feel like they're running uphill alone. It's draining and discouraging. There's a reality many don't admit openly. When you're surrounded by negative voices, doubts, and low energy, your progress slows down. It's like trying to light a fire in the rain. People who don't believe in growth, who constantly complain or doubt your goals, can drain your spirit without even realizing it. The environment you're in, especially the people around you, shapes your mindset more than you might think. If you want to grow, the company you keep has to reflect that desire. Success is rarely achieved in isolation. It's built through relationships, influence, and shared energy. When you surround yourself with growth-minded, positive people, you create an atmosphere that pushes you forward, even when you don't feel like moving. These people raise your standards, challenge your excuses, and celebrate your wins with genuine enthusiasm. They inspire you to stretch beyond your limits, because their mindset is rooted in possibility and action. Growth-minded people don't just focus on themselves, they believe in progress and improvement for everyone around them. They hold themselves accountable, but also hold you accountable in the right way. They ask tough questions, listen deeply, and offer encouragement. Being around that kind of energy rewires your own thinking. Instead of focusing on obstacles or failures, you start to see challenges as opportunities. You learn to believe in your capacity to improve. Their positivity isn't blind optimism, it's a realistic confidence based on effort and experience. One of the harsh truths is that negativity is contagious. When you spend time with people who complain constantly, blame others, or focus on problems without solutions, it slowly seeps into your thoughts. Their doubts become your doubts. Their fears become your fears. Over time, that energy makes it harder to take risks or keep pushing forward. It's like carrying invisible weights on your shoulders every day. But when you replace those weights with the right people, those same shoulders feel lighter, stronger, ready to carry you further. Finding growth-minded people doesn't mean you cut off everyone who struggles or has bad days. Life is full of ups and downs, and everyone has moments of doubt. But the key is the overall pattern. Are the people you spend the most time with focused on solutions, learning, and progress? Or are they stuck in complaints, excuses, and negativity? The answer to this question can tell you a lot about where your mindset will go next. Being around positive, growth-focused people also exposes you to new ideas and perspectives. These people often read, study, and work on themselves consistently. They share books, experiences, and insights that expand your view of what's possible. This exposure helps you avoid mental traps and old beliefs that keep you stuck. When your network values growth, you're more likely to challenge your limits and try things you might never attempt alone. The energy in a growth-focused group is different from casual acquaintances or surface-level friends. It's deep, honest, and supportive. They celebrate progress no matter how small and encourage persistence when things get tough. They understand that growth is a process, not a one-time event. And their presence creates an environment where you feel safe to take risks and fail because you know they'll help you get back up. Another important aspect is that growth-minded people teach by example. Their habits, attitudes, and actions show you what's possible. You learn more from how they live than from what they say. Watching someone handle setbacks with grace, continue learning after success, or stay consistent in their efforts gives you a blueprint to follow. It's hard to stay stuck in negative thinking when you're surrounded by people who live differently. It's also vital to remember that you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. That isn't just a cliché. It's a reality based on psychology and habits. Your language, mindset, and actions adapt to fit the company you keep. When you consistently engage with growth-minded individuals, their mindset rubs off on you. You start thinking bigger, working harder, and believing more deeply in your potential. Choosing to surround yourself with positive, growth-oriented people means being intentional about your relationships. It might require making some tough decisions. You might need to distance yourself from those who bring you down, even if they're family or longtime friends. That's difficult but necessary if you want to change your life. It's not about judging or rejecting people. It's about protecting your energy and your future. Building a circle of growth-minded people can happen in many ways. Joining groups focused on self-improvement, attending workshops, networking with professionals in your field, or simply spending more time with people who inspire you all count. Even online communities can provide valuable support if you engage actively and consistently. The key is to be around those who lift you up and push you forward. Sometimes people think they have to do everything alone to prove their strength. But real strength is knowing when to seek support and influence from others who share your vision. It's wise to learn from those who have walked the path before you and to share your own journey with those who encourage growth. This mutual support creates momentum that carries you through the toughest moments. It's normal to feel hesitant about changing your social circle. There's comfort in familiarity, even when it holds you back. But growth requires stepping out of comfort zones, including the comfort of familiar company. When you make the choice to surround yourself with growth-minded, positive people, you're making a commitment to your future. You're deciding that your mindset matters and that the people you allow into your life will support that mindset. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with people. Do you leave energized, hopeful, and inspired? Or drained, doubtful, and discouraged? Your feelings are a clear signal. Growth-minded people lift your spirit, encourage your dreams, and help you focus on your next steps. They don't bring drama or unnecessary distractions. Their presence helps you stay focused on what matters. This environment of positivity and growth also strengthens your mental health. Constant negativity breeds anxiety and stress. But when you're around people who encourage learning, resilience, and positivity, you develop healthier habits of thinking. That mental environment becomes a fortress protecting you from despair and fear. It helps you build confidence to face challenges without losing your way. Choosing your company carefully is one of the most strategic moves you can make. It's a decision that impacts your motivation, your mindset, and ultimately your success. You're not just choosing friends or colleagues, you're choosing your environment for growth. That environment will shape your beliefs, your habits, and your actions more than any book, seminar, or motivational speech ever could. There will be times when it's uncomfortable to distance yourself from negativity or seek out growth-minded people. Change is uncomfortable by nature. But every step you take toward a more positive, growth-focused circle is a step toward your own transformation. It opens doors to opportunities, ideas, and support that you can't get alone. In the end, the people around you become mirrors, reflecting who you are becoming. If you want to become a person who thinks big, acts boldly, and perseveres through challenges, you have to see those qualities reflected in your community. Growth-minded. Number 6. Stop negative thoughts by replacing them instantly. There's a quiet battle that goes on in almost every person's mind every single day. It's not always obvious, but it's powerful and relentless. Negative thoughts sneak in like unwelcome guests, and if left unchecked, they take over. These thoughts, doubt, fear, worry, criticism, slow you down, sap your energy, and hold you back from moving forward. The harsh truth is that these negative thoughts don't disappear on their own. They grow stronger the longer you let them hang around. The moment you catch yourself sinking into doubt or worry, the only way out is to stop that thought and replace it with a better one instantly. Most people think they can just ignore negative thoughts and they'll go away. But that's not how the mind works. The mind doesn't respond well to ignoring problems. Instead, it keeps replaying the negative messages louder and louder until they grab your full attention. That's why it's crucial to have a strategy to catch these thoughts the moment they appear and shift your focus before they spiral out of control. This practice isn't about pretending everything is perfect or denying reality. It's about choosing what you feed your mind, because what you feed grows. The power to replace negative thoughts instantly lies in awareness. You need to become so tuned into your thinking that you notice the very first sign of a negative idea. Maybe it's a small voice saying, "I'm not good enough," or "this will never work." That voice is like a warning light on your mental dashboard. It's telling you to pay attention and take action. The first step is to not argue with it or feel ashamed of having that thought. Instead, recognize it clearly. Acknowledge it as just a thought, not a fact. That simple separation creates space to change it. After recognizing a negative thought, you need to have a replacement ready. This replacement should be something true and empowering, something that helps you move forward. If your mind says, "I can't do this," the replacement could be, "I'm learning and growing every day." If the thought is, "I always fail," replace it with, "Every mistake is a chance to improve." These replacements aren't empty affirmations. They're truths grounded in effort and possibility. They remind your mind that you're not stuck, that you have control over your future. It's important to practice this process regularly so it becomes automatic. At first, it takes effort and discipline. Your mind may resist because it's comfortable with familiar negativity. That resistance is a sign you're on the right path. Over time, the habit of catching and replacing negative thoughts rewires your brain. Your mind starts to default to more positive, constructive thinking. You don't have to wait for motivation or mood changes. You create your own mental environment. The way negative thoughts show up can be sneaky. Sometimes they appear as worries about the future, harsh judgments about yourself or others, or excuses that hold you back from trying. Each of these thoughts chips away at your confidence and drains your willpower. But when you catch them early and swap them out, you protect your mindset from unnecessary damage. This doesn't mean you won't face challenges or feel fear. It means you don't let those feelings control your actions. A realistic look at life shows that setbacks and difficulties will come. The difference is how your mind responds to them. If negative thoughts rule your mind, obstacles become mountains, and failure becomes the end of the road. But when you practice replacing negativity instantly, those same obstacles become lessons, and failure becomes feedback. This shift transforms your mindset from one of helplessness to one of power and possibility. Replacing negative thoughts instantly also changes how you experience your emotions. Negative thinking fuels anxiety, frustration, and sadness. Positive, empowering thoughts build calm, focus, and hope. You may not control every situation, but you do control how you interpret it. And that interpretation shapes how you feel, how you act, and what you achieve. This connection between thought and emotion is the foundation of mental strength. This practice can be done anywhere, at any time. Whether you're sitting at your desk, driving in traffic, or waiting in line, you can catch your mind drifting toward negativity and bring it back. The more you do this, the more resilient your mind becomes. You start to notice patterns of negative thinking and the triggers behind them. Awareness grows, and with it, your ability to choose thoughts that serve your goals instead of sabotaging them. Some people believe they have no control over their thoughts, that negativity is just part of their nature. This is a limiting belief that keeps them stuck. The truth is, the mind is like a muscle. The more you exercise the skill of replacing negative thoughts, the stronger and more flexible it becomes. This mental training changes the landscape of your mind, making it a place where success is more natural and setbacks are less frightening. Replacing negative thoughts is not a one-time fix, it's a daily commitment. There will be days when negativity sneaks through more easily. That's normal. What matters is getting back to the practice as soon as you notice. Consistency builds trust with yourself. It shows your mind that you're serious about growth. This trust becomes a foundation for confidence that no outside circumstance can easily shake. Another reason replacing negative thoughts instantly works is because it creates momentum. Thoughts are like the starting point of actions. If you think, "I can't," you won't try. If you think, "I will learn," you take the first step. Every positive thought you replace creates a little push forward. Over time, these pushes add up to big changes. This is why mindset makes up 80% of success. Your thinking leads, and your actions follow. Sometimes, negative thoughts come with a strong emotional charge, fear, shame, or anger. When you catch these thoughts, it helps to take a deep breath and ground yourself in the present moment. This slows down the reaction and gives you space to choose a different thought rather than reacting impulsively. Breathing deeply isn't just a relaxation trick. It's a tool to regain control of your mind when it feels overwhelmed. It's also helpful to have a list of powerful replacement thoughts or affirmations that resonate with you personally. These should reflect your values, goals, and strengths. When negative thoughts arise, you can turn to your list and pick the one that fits best. Having this toolbox ready makes it easier to respond quickly without scrambling to find the right words. The more personal and meaningful these replacements are, the stronger their impact. This process of stopping negative thoughts instantly and replacing them is not about being perfect. It's about progress and persistence. You will have moments when negativity slips in and takes hold for a while. That's part of being human. What sets successful people apart is their ability to notice when this happens, stop it, and redirect their thinking as soon as possible. This simple action rewires the brain over time, building a resilient and optimistic mindset. When you master the habit of replacing negative thoughts, you open the door to greater creativity, focus, and energy. Your mind becomes a tool working for you rather than an enemy holding you back. This change shifts everything: how you face challenges, how you make decisions, and how you interact with the world. It creates a foundation where confidence grows and success becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Taking control of your thoughts also means you take control of your life. The power to choose what you think, how you respond, and what you believe gives you freedom. Number 7. Use setbacks as fuel, not reasons to quit. Setbacks hit everyone. They come in without warning, shake your confidence, and sometimes make the path forward look impossible. You've probably felt that sinking feeling when something important to you doesn't go as planned. Maybe it was a project that failed, a goal you missed, or a relationship that fell apart. These moments are tough. They sting deep because they challenge your belief in yourself and your ability to succeed. The hardest part isn't the setback itself, but what happens next, how your mind responds in those critical moments after the fall. Many people allow setbacks to become the end of the story, reasons to stop trying, evidence they're not meant to succeed. But what if setbacks could be something else? What if instead of quitting, setbacks could be the very fuel that propels you forward stronger and more determined? The truth is, setbacks are not signs of failure. They are signs that you are pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. Growth never happens in easy places. If your path never had obstacles, it would mean you're not reaching high enough or trying hard enough. Setbacks show that you are engaged in something meaningful. They highlight where adjustments are needed. They provide lessons you wouldn't get if everything went smoothly. Recognizing this changes how setbacks feel. Instead of a defeat, a setback becomes information, a guidepost that helps you navigate better. How you interpret a setback determines what it does to you. If you see it as a dead end, it shuts down motivation and creates fear. But if you view setbacks as temporary challenges, you stay open to solutions and keep moving. This mindset isn't easy to adopt because setbacks naturally trigger disappointment, frustration, and sometimes shame. These emotions are real and valid, but they don't have to dictate your actions. You can feel those emotions fully and then choose a response that moves you forward rather than holds you back. Using setbacks as fuel means actively searching for the lesson in every difficult experience. What went wrong? What could have been done differently? What part of this setback is in your control to change? This process requires honest self-reflection, which can be uncomfortable, but it's essential. Without it, you risk repeating the same mistakes or blaming others or circumstances unfairly. Reflection turns setbacks into valuable feedback, giving you clues to improve your approach, strategy, or mindset. The next step is to transform the energy from the setback into motivation. Pain and disappointment create emotional energy. Some people let that energy drain away, others use it to push harder. Imagine turning the frustration you feel into a driving force that fuels your next effort. This energy is powerful because it's personal. It comes from your desire to overcome the obstacle and prove to yourself that you are capable. That personal drive becomes a resource you can tap into whenever setbacks arise. Another important part of using setbacks as fuel is adjusting your goals if necessary. Sometimes a setback shows you that your original plan wasn't the best path. This isn't failure, it's smart strategy. Being flexible enough to change direction while keeping your ultimate vision intact is a sign of resilience and wisdom. Holding rigidly to one way often leads to burnout or disappointment. Resilience is about bending without breaking and finding new routes forward when one road is blocked. It's also essential to remind yourself that setbacks are temporary, not permanent. When you face a tough moment, it can feel like it will last forever. This thought can create a sense of hopelessness. But setbacks are moments in time. They pass. Holding on to hope and belief in your ability to keep going makes the difference between quitting and pushing through. This hope isn't wishful thinking. It's grounded in knowing that your past efforts and your willingness to learn give you a foundation to rebuild stronger. One way to keep setbacks from turning into reasons to quit is to build a support system. Talking about your struggles with people who understand and believe in you can lighten the emotional burden and provide perspective. Sometimes we get trapped in our own minds, hearing only the negative story. Supportive friends, mentors, or coaches can remind you of your strengths and encourage you to see setbacks as temporary hurdles rather than permanent barriers. Their encouragement can become the fuel that keeps your fire burning. The stories of many successful people include setbacks that nearly stopped them in their tracks. What separated those who succeeded from those who didn't wasn't the absence of failure, but their response to it. They treated setbacks as part of the process, learning from them, adjusting and pushing forward with renewed energy. This approach turns failure from something to fear into something to embrace as part of growth. Sometimes setbacks cause self-doubt to creep in. The mind whispers, "Maybe you're not cut out for this," or "This isn't worth the effort." These thoughts can poison your resolve if allowed to take root. Using setbacks as fuel means pushing back against those doubts with evidence from your past successes and effort. Reminding yourself of how far you've come and what you have learned anchors your confidence. It strengthens your belief that you can handle difficulties and still succeed. Using setbacks as fuel also means taking responsibility. It's easy to blame outside forces or bad luck, but that mindset keeps you stuck. Taking responsibility means owning your part in what happened and your power to change what happens next. This ownership is empowering. It turns you from a passive victim into an active problem solver. When you take charge of your response, you regain control over your future. The process of using setbacks as fuel isn't instant. It takes time to heal, reflect, and rebuild energy. There will be moments when the weight of disappointment feels heavy. Those moments don't mean you've failed, they mean you're human. Allow yourself to feel, but don't stay there longer than necessary. Action is the antidote to despair. Small steps forward, even imperfect ones, generate momentum. Momentum creates hope. Hope fuels persistence. Persisting through setbacks also builds character. Each time you choose to rise instead of quit, you strengthen qualities like patience, determination, and courage. These qualities become a foundation that supports future challenges. You become someone who not only survives setbacks but grows stronger because of them. This transformation is the true power of setbacks as fuel. You can also use setbacks as motivation by visualizing what overcoming them will feel like. Picture the relief, the pride, and the joy of having faced tough times and still coming out ahead. This vision creates a positive emotional pull that counters the negative feelings of the setback itself. It reminds you that the struggle is temporary, but the rewards of perseverance last much longer. Setbacks often highlight weaknesses or gaps in skills or knowledge. Instead of seeing these as reasons to quit, treat them as opportunities to improve. Commit to learning and growing in those areas. This mindset turns setbacks into a catalyst for personal development. The discomfort of facing your limitations becomes the starting point for growth rather than a stopping point. Ultimately, setbacks are part of the journey to success, not detours from it. The difference lies in how you use them. If you let setbacks stop you, you stay where you are. If you use setbacks as fuel, you rise higher than before. This choice is yours every day. Every setback you face can be the reason you quit or the reason you keep going stronger. Number 8. Master the art of discipline. Most people don't struggle because they lack talent, intelligence, or even opportunity. They struggle because they can't get themselves to do what needs to be done, especially when they don't feel like it. That's the raw, unfiltered truth that too many ignore. Discipline isn't glamorous and it doesn't make headlines. But it's the backbone of success. It's the thing that separates the people who wish from the people who win. And it's also the hardest to build because it demands that you override your emotions, your distractions, and your excuses every single day. We live in a world where instant gratification is everywhere. One tap and food arrives. One scroll and you're entertained. One swipe and someone likes your photo. Everything's built for comfort and speed. But success? It doesn't operate that way. Success doesn't care if you're tired. It doesn't wait for motivation to show up. It comes to those who are consistent, who show up whether it's exciting or not, whether it feels good or not, whether someone's watching or not. That's what discipline really is, doing what needs to be done long after the excitement has worn off. Most people think discipline is about forcing yourself through sheer willpower. But real discipline isn't about being harsh with yourself. It's about structure. It's about building systems that protect you from your own weaknesses. It's about designing your life in a way that your goals become easier to follow than your temptations. And that takes brutal honesty. You have to admit where you're slipping, where you're wasting time, where you keep making excuses and justifying procrastination. If you're not willing to face those truths, you can't build discipline. You're just lying to yourself. Discipline begins in the smallest moments. It's not just about waking up at 5 a.m. or working 12-hour days. It's also about choosing to start when you said you would. It's about sticking to your word, even when no one else knows what you promised yourself. It's about finishing tasks you don't feel like doing. Every time you follow through, you build trust in yourself. And that trust is powerful. When you know you can count on yourself, you stop waiting for the perfect moment. You stop looking for motivation. You simply act because action is now part of who you are. One of the biggest mistakes people make is relying on emotion to drive discipline. They want to feel inspired. They wait to be in the mood. But discipline doesn't come from emotion. It comes from identity. When you decide that you are the type of person who follows through, you stop negotiating with yourself. You don't debate whether to work or rest. You don't argue with your excuses. You do what needs to be done because that's who you are. That shift from relying on feelings to relying on identity is where discipline truly begins. There will always be resistance. Every time you try to push yourself to a higher level, your mind will fight back. It will say, "You deserve a break," or "You've done enough for today." It will remind you how hard it is. That voice never completely goes away. But discipline teaches you to act despite it. It teaches you to recognize that voice and move anyway. The more you do this, the quieter that resistance becomes. Not because it disappears, but because it no longer holds the same power over you. Discipline isn't rigid or robotic. It's flexible but intentional. It allows for rest but not avoidance. It allows for breaks but not escape. It's not about becoming a machine, it's about becoming focused. And in that focus, you learn to say no to the things that steal your time and energy. You begin to cut away the noise. You realize that every yes to a distraction is a no to your goals. Discipline sharpens your ability to choose wisely, consistently, and confidently. You don't build discipline overnight. It's earned through repetition, through showing up on the days when you feel like quitting, through sticking to your plan even when progress is slow. Every disciplined action you take is like a brick in a wall. At first you won't see much, but over time that wall becomes a fortress. It becomes a defense against chaos, procrastination, and laziness. Eventually, discipline gives you freedom, the freedom to control your time, your habits, and your future. People often confuse discipline with restriction, as if it takes something away. But the opposite is true. Discipline gives you more progress, more clarity, more time, more control. It gives you the ability to choose your future rather than be dragged by your impulses. Without discipline, your life becomes reactive. You chase comfort, avoid discomfort, and end up stuck in cycles of regret. But with discipline, you become proactive. You act with purpose. You make intentional choices, and your life starts to reflect your highest standards. One of the most underestimated parts of discipline is the ability to delay gratification. Most people quit because the results don't come fast enough. They want visible progress in days, not months. But discipline teaches patience. It teaches you to plant seeds and water them daily, even when nothing seems to be growing. It teaches you that long-term success is built in silence, behind the scenes, when no one is clapping and no rewards are showing. That's when the real foundation is being built. And the people who keep going through that phase, those are the ones who win big in the end. Discipline also gives you confidence. Not the fake kind that comes from hype or compliments, but the deep kind that comes from knowing you did the work. When you've earned your progress through consistent effort, you don't need validation. You know what you're capable of because you've seen yourself push through when it was hard. That kind of confidence can't be bought. It can't be faked, and it can't be taken away. It's earned through discipline. At times, discipline will feel lonely. You'll look around and see others choosing ease, entertainment, and comfort while you choose effort. You'll be tempted to step off your path. But in those moments, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself that the life you want won't come from doing what everyone else does. It will come from doing what most people won't, consistently, relentlessly, and with focus. That's what separates the average from the extraordinary. To master the art of discipline, you must also learn how to reset quickly. You will slip. You will miss days. You will make mistakes. That's not failure, it's human. What matters is how fast you return to the path. Discipline isn't perfection. It's resilience. It's the ability to get back on track without self-pity or guilt. It's the decision to begin again, stronger and wiser. And every time you do that, you build more momentum, more self-respect, and more strength. At its core, discipline is a form of self-respect. It's choosing to honor your goals, your vision, and your potential, even when no one else understands. It's deciding that your future matters enough to fight for it daily. That fight is never easy, but it's always worth it. And as you master discipline, you'll find that success becomes less about talent or timing and more about effort, commitment, and consistency. Those who master discipline master their destiny. Number 9. Become obsessed with progress over perfection. You wake up and feel the weight of everything you're not. The projects left unfinished. The goals you never started. The plans that looked good in your head but never made it to reality. You start wondering what went wrong, and the answer is often the same. You were waiting to feel ready, waiting for things to line up perfectly, waiting for a version of yourself that never came. This is where most people live stuck in the illusion of perfection, paralyzed by the idea that if it can't be flawless, it's not worth starting. That mindset kills dreams more than failure ever could. The truth is, perfection doesn't exist. It's a moving target that constantly shifts the closer you get. You think one more tweak, one more adjustment, one more day to plan will make everything better. But the clock keeps ticking and nothing gets done. You trick yourself into thinking you're preparing when you're really procrastinating. You wait and wait until the window of opportunity closes. Not because you weren't capable, but because you were too focused on making it perfect instead of making it happen. Progress, on the other hand, is messy, uncomfortable, and often imperfect, but it moves you forward. Every step, no matter how small or flawed, pushes you closer to something real. When you choose progress over perfection, you stop trying to impress and start trying to improve. You shift from performing for approval to building something with substance. That mindset shift is everything. Because the people who make things happen aren't the ones who wait until they're flawless. They're the ones who are willing to be seen trying. Becoming obsessed with progress means you stop glorifying the finish line and start falling in love with the process. You begin to appreciate the grind, the awkward first steps, the messy middle, and even the setbacks. You recognize that the goal isn't to get it right on the first try, it's to keep getting better every time. You replace judgment with curiosity. Instead of asking, "Why am I not there yet?" you start asking, "What can I do better today than I did yesterday?" That's where growth happens. Perfection is often rooted in fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not being enough. It convinces you that flaws are fatal, that if you show any weakness, people will doubt you, or worse, you'll doubt yourself. But here's the truth. Nobody great became great by being perfect. They became great by being relentless. They stumbled, they adjusted, they learned in real time. They weren't obsessed with looking polished. They were obsessed with improving. That's what separates creators from spectators, builders from dreamers. Obsessing over progress teaches you to detach from outcome and focus on effort. It teaches you that the result isn't fully in your control, but your actions are. You begin to value showing up over showing off. You learn that momentum is more powerful than motivation. Because once you start moving, even if it's slow, that motion creates energy. It gives you feedback. It teaches you lessons you could never learn by standing still and thinking about how to be perfect. You also stop fearing mistakes because you start to see them as data. Every misstep becomes a map. Every failure points the way forward. When you're focused on perfection, mistakes feel like proof that you're not good enough. But when you're focused on progress, mistakes are proof that you're doing the work. They show that you're in the arena, taking hits and getting up again. That's where real confidence is built, not in avoiding failure, but in outgrowing it. Progress is also deeply personal. It's not about beating someone else or proving a point. It's about being honest with yourself, about where you are, where you've been, and where you're trying to go. It requires humility because it means admitting that you don't know everything. It requires resilience because it means staying committed even when you feel behind. And most of all, it requires patience because progress isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's invisible. Sometimes you grow in ways that can't be measured until much later. But it's still happening. Choosing progress over perfection also rewires the way you approach your goals. Instead of creating impossible standards and waiting for the stars to align, you start asking better questions. What's the next step I can take today? How can I simplify instead of complicate? What am I avoiding in the name of perfection? These questions create clarity. They push you into action. And action, real, messy, imperfect action, is what builds momentum. The obsession with progress makes you more adaptable. When things don't go as planned, you don't freeze, you adjust. You pivot, you experiment. You realize that there are many ways to reach your destination, and sometimes detours lead to better outcomes than your original route. Perfection wants control. Progress wants movement. That flexibility makes you more powerful, not less. You begin to redefine what good enough means. It's not about settling, it's about starting. It's about putting something out there and letting it evolve over time. Most breakthroughs don't happen in the planning phase. They happen in the doing phase. They come from trial and error, from iterating, from being brave enough to release version 1.0 and trusting that version 2.0 will be even better. That's how creators operate. That's how success is built. Progress over perfection also creates sustainability. When you're obsessed with getting it perfect, you burn out trying to meet unrealistic expectations. But when you focus on consistent improvement, you create habits you can maintain. You don't rely on bursts of energy, you build a steady rhythm. You learn to pace yourself, to play the long game, to build something that lasts instead of something that just looks good for a moment. In the end, perfection is an illusion that keeps you stuck. Progress is the reality that moves you forward. One is paralyzing, the other is empowering. One feeds your ego, the other strengthens your soul. The people who win in life, in business, in creativity, in growth, are not the ones who wait for perfection. They are the ones who start before they're ready, who build while they learn, who improve as they go. That's who you must become. So stop aiming for flawless. Aim for forward. Every day, just 1 inch, 1%, 1 step. Let that be enough. Because those inches stack into miles. Those steps become sprints. That progress over time becomes transformation. And that's what will separate you from everyone else still stuck waiting for perfect. Number 10. Challenge your limiting beliefs with empowering truths. There's a quiet voice inside your mind that often tells you what you cannot do. It speaks softly but with authority, convincing you that certain things are impossible, that you don't have what it takes, or that some goals are simply out of reach. This voice doesn't shout, it whispers doubts and fears disguised as facts. Most people listen to this voice without question, accepting its words as the ultimate truth. That voice is your limiting belief system, and it's the biggest obstacle standing between you and your success. Many don't realize how deeply these beliefs shape their reality. They control your decisions, your actions, even your dreams, without you consciously noticing. You tell yourself, "I'm not smart enough," or "I don't have the time," or "people like me never get ahead." These are not truths. They are mental barriers you have accepted over time. Sometimes these beliefs come from childhood, past failures, or the opinions of others. Sometimes they are born from fear and self-protection. But no matter where they come from, they limit your potential. Challenging these beliefs requires honesty. It starts by identifying what you truly believe about yourself and your possibilities. What are those thoughts that hold you back? What stories do you tell yourself to justify staying where you are? Write them down. Put them in the light where you can examine them closely. Often you'll find that these beliefs don't stand up to real scrutiny. They're assumptions, not facts. Once you see these limiting beliefs clearly, the next step is to confront them with empowering truths. This means intentionally replacing every "I can't" with a "I can." Every "I'm not good enough" with "I am capable of learning and growing." It means reminding yourself that past mistakes don't define your future. It's about affirming that your potential is not fixed but expandable. These truths are not just positive talk. They're grounded in reality, backed by examples of human resilience and achievement. History is full of people who overcame odds that seemed impossible because they refused to accept limiting beliefs. This process is more than repeating affirmations or pretending. It's about building a new foundation for how you see yourself. Every time a limiting thought comes up, you stop it in its tracks and counter it with evidence that contradicts it. For example, if you think you're too old to start something new, remind yourself of those who began successful ventures later in life. If you feel unqualified, recall the times you learned skills that once seemed difficult. You are rewiring your brain to see challenges as opportunities instead of threats. Challenging limiting beliefs also means questioning the origin of these ideas. Ask yourself where these thoughts started. Are they really yours, or did someone else plant them? Did a teacher, parent, or friend impose expectations that you accepted without question? Understanding this can give you perspective and distance from those beliefs, making it easier to discard those that don't serve you. Your beliefs shape your emotions and actions. If you believe you will fail, you feel anxiety and hesitation, and you act cautiously or avoid taking steps altogether. If you believe success is possible, you feel hope and excitement, which fuels action and persistence. The power of belief is the power to change your emotional landscape, which directly affects your ability to take meaningful steps toward your goals. This is not an easy process. Challenging deep-rooted beliefs often feels uncomfortable because you're stepping outside your comfort zone. You may face internal resistance or doubt. Old fears may resurface. This is normal. Growth always involves discomfort. The difference is you choose to face that discomfort instead of running from it. You become curious about the parts of yourself you never questioned before. Surrounding yourself with people who reflect empowering beliefs helps accelerate this change. When you hear others speak about their possibilities, successes, and the challenges they overcame, it reshapes what you believe is possible for you. Positive environments reinforce new truths and provide encouragement when old doubts creep in. This community becomes a mirror that reflects your potential back to you. Building this habit of challenging your beliefs daily is crucial. It's not a one-time fix, but a lifelong practice. Every day offers new moments where your old stories try to take hold, and you get to choose whether to believe them or replace them with empowering truths. The more you do this, the stronger your new beliefs become, until they are no longer a choice, but your default way of thinking. Empowering beliefs open doors. They expand your vision of what you can achieve. They give you courage to take risks, try new things, and persist when times get tough. They transform obstacles into lessons and setbacks into stepping stones. When you build this mindset, success ceases to be a distant dream and becomes a natural result of your consistent, intentional effort. You must realize that you are not your past limitations. You are the sum of your choices, your willingness to learn, and your commitment to growth. The beliefs you hold today shape the future you will create. Choose beliefs that empower you, that fuel your confidence and resilience. Those beliefs become the foundation for your actions and ultimately your success. There is power in the mind to reshape reality. It begins with challenging what you accept as true. You are capable of much more than you believe. The only thing standing in your way is the story you tell yourself. Change that story and you change your life. Every great achievement starts with a belief that it is possible. It's time to replace doubts with truth, limits with possibility, and fear with confidence. The mind is where success begins, and it all starts by daring to challenge what you think you know about yourself. There's a moment in almost everyone's life when you stand at the edge of a new opportunity, a challenge, or a decision, and inside you there's doubt. Maybe your hands tremble a little, your heart races faster, or your mind floods with questions like, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? It's the kind of feeling that tells you to hold back, to wait for the perfect moment, or to just avoid trying altogether. But here's the reality most people don't realize. Confidence isn't something you wait to have before taking action. Confidence is a choice you make, a behavior you step into, even when the uncertainty inside screams otherwise. Acting confident is not about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about showing up fully, standing tall, speaking clearly, and moving forward despite the fear or hesitation you feel inside. Number 11. Act confident even when you feel unsure inside. You might ask, how can someone act confident when they feel unsure? The answer lies in recognizing that confidence is a skill you build, not an innate gift that only a few possess. Every great leader, entrepreneur, artist, or athlete you admire has had to push past their own doubts and insecurities. They made the decision to act like they belonged, to take the first step when their knees shook, and to speak up even when their voice quivered. That action, repeated again and again, rewired their minds. It sent a powerful message to their brains and to the world around them. I am capable. I will not be stopped by fear. That's how confidence grows. It's not magic, it's muscle, and it needs to be exercised consistently. Acting confident also changes how others perceive you. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with assurance, even if that assurance is being practiced in real time. When you step into confidence, you inspire trust and respect. Doors open that would have stayed closed if you hesitated or held back. Opportunities flow toward people who show they believe in themselves enough to try, even when uncertainty lurks beneath the surface. Confidence is contagious. It influences how others respond to you and how they invest in your ideas and talents. Most people shy away from situations that require this kind of intentional confidence because it feels risky. They worry about judgment, rejection, or failure. But what's riskier is staying stuck in the shadows of your potential because you're waiting to feel ready. The truth is, readiness is rarely a feeling that just arrives. It's forged in the act of doing. Every time you push through discomfort and act confident, you prove to yourself that you can handle the situation. You build evidence inside yourself that success and competence are possible. There's a profound psychological truth about how our minds and bodies communicate. When you act confident, your body sends signals to your brain that reinforce positive thoughts and reduce fear. For example, standing straight, making eye contact, and speaking clearly can trigger your brain's release of chemicals that calm nerves and boost focus. Even when you feel like a bundle of nerves, your physical actions can influence your mental state. That's why fake it till you make it is more than just a phrase. It's a practical strategy grounded in science and human behavior. Acting confident rewires your brain's response to fear and uncertainty. It's important to remember that acting confident doesn't mean ignoring your doubts or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging those feelings, but deciding not to let them control your actions. You honor the fear by feeling it, but you don't let it stop you from moving forward. That's courage in its purest form. It's about showing respect for your own potential by acting as if you already possess the strength and ability you want to grow. When you face new situations, remind yourself that feeling unsure is normal. It's part of being human. What separates those who succeed from those who hesitate forever is the decision to act confident anyway. That decision might feel uncomfortable at first, like wearing shoes that haven't been broken in, but each step you take makes you stronger, and each success, no matter how small, builds a foundation you can rely on. You can start practicing this today by paying attention to your posture, your tone of voice, and how you communicate your ideas. Even if your mind says, "I'm not sure," your body can say, "I'm ready." This disconnect sends a powerful message to your brain and your nervous system. Over time, your mind catches up to your actions. You start to feel more comfortable, more in control, more capable. Confidence grows not because you suddenly become fearless, but because you learn how to manage fear and uncertainty with intentional behavior. Number 11. Act confident even when you feel unsure inside. There's a moment in almost everyone's life when you stand at the edge of a new opportunity, a challenge, or a decision, and inside you there's doubt. Maybe your hands tremble a little, your heart races faster, or your mind floods with questions like, "What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough?" It's the kind of feeling that tells you to hold back, to wait for the perfect moment, or to just avoid trying altogether. But here's the reality most people don't realize. Confidence isn't something you wait to have before taking action. Confidence is a choice you make, a behavior you step into, even when the uncertainty inside screams otherwise. Acting confident is not about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about showing up fully, standing tall, speaking clearly, and moving forward despite the fear or hesitation you feel inside. You might ask, how can someone act confident when they feel unsure? The answer lies in recognizing that confidence is a skill you build, not an innate gift that only a few possess. Every great leader, entrepreneur, artist, or athlete you admire has had to push past their own doubts and insecurities. They made the decision to act like they belonged, to take the first step when their knees shook, and to speak up even when their voice quivered. That action, repeated again and again, rewired their minds. It sent a powerful message to their brains and to the world around them. I am capable. I will not be stopped by fear. That's how confidence grows. It's not magic, it's muscle, and it needs to be exercised consistently. There's a profound psychological truth about how our minds and bodies communicate. When you act confident, your body sends signals to your brain that reinforce positive thoughts and reduce fear. For example, standing straight, making eye contact, and speaking clearly can trigger your brain's release of chemicals that calm nerves and boost focus. Even when you feel like a bundle of nerves, your physical actions can influence your mental state. That's why "fake it till you make it" is more than just a phrase. It's a practical strategy grounded in science and human behavior. Acting confident rewires your brain's response to fear and uncertainty. Most people shy away from situations that require this kind of intentional confidence because it feels risky. They worry about judgment, rejection, or failure. But what's riskier is staying stuck in the shadows of your potential because you're waiting to feel ready. The truth is, readiness is rarely a feeling that just arrives. It's forged in the act of doing. Every time you push through discomfort and act confident, you prove to yourself that you can handle the situation. You build evidence inside yourself that success and competence are possible. Acting confident also changes how others perceive you. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with assurance, even if that assurance is being practiced in real time. When you step into confidence, you inspire trust and respect. Doors open that would have stayed closed if you hesitated or held back. Opportunities flow toward people who show they believe in themselves enough to try, even when uncertainty lurks beneath the surface. Confidence is contagious. It influences how others respond to you and how they invest in your ideas and talents. It's important to remember that acting confident doesn't mean ignoring your doubts or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging those feelings, but deciding not to let them control your actions. You honor the fear by feeling it, but you don't let it stop you from moving forward. That's courage in its purest form. It's about showing respect for your own potential by acting as if you already possess the strength and ability you want to grow. You can start practicing this today by paying attention to your posture, your tone of voice, and how you communicate your ideas. Even if your mind says, "I'm not sure," your body can say, "I'm ready." This disconnect sends a powerful message to your brain and your nervous system. Over time, your mind catches up to your actions. You start to feel more comfortable, more in control, more capable. Confidence grows not because you suddenly become fearless, but because you learn how to manage fear and uncertainty with intentional behavior. When you face new situations, remind yourself that feeling unsure is normal. It's part of being human. What separates those who succeed from those who hesitate forever is the decision to act confident anyway. That decision might feel uncomfortable at first, like wearing shoes that haven't been broken in, but each step you take makes you stronger, and each success, no matter how small, builds a foundation you can rely on. This isn't just about big moments. Confidence shows up in everyday actions, speaking your ideas in a meeting, introducing yourself to someone new, starting a project you're excited but nervous about, or standing up for what you believe in. These small moments add up. They create a pattern of boldness that rewires your mindset from doubt to assurance. You're telling yourself, "I have what it takes to succeed," and your actions back it up. Every time you act confident when you feel unsure, you are training your brain to believe in your own capabilities. You're rewriting the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you can do. This new story becomes your truth, and it leads to new opportunities, growth, and fulfillment. The journey to success is mostly about mastering this inner dialogue and learning how to show up powerfully no matter what your feelings say. There's no perfect moment to start acting confident. The right time is always now, when you feel unsure, when you feel unprepared, when you feel scared. That is exactly when you must choose to stand tall, speak clearly, and move forward. This choice shapes your future more than anything else. It sets the tone for how you handle challenges, how you pursue your goals, and how you live your life. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to act in spite of it. Every person who has achieved success has done this countless times. Your mindset is the foundation of your success. Acting confident even when you feel unsure inside is one of the most powerful ways to build that foundation. It teaches you that you are stronger than your fears, braver than your doubts, and more capable than your hesitation. With each confident step forward, you grow closer to the life you want and the person you're meant to become. This is where real change begins. This is where success starts. Ask ChatGPT. Number 12. Replace excuses with personal responsibility every time. Life has a way of throwing challenges at every one of us, and it's easy to slip into the habit of making excuses. It might sound like, "I don't have enough time," or "I'm not lucky like others," or even "it's too hard to change now." Those excuses, while comforting in the moment, build walls around your potential and hold you back from reaching what you really want. The truth is, every excuse you make pushes your dreams further away, and every time you choose to take personal responsibility, you move closer to your success. This isn't just about blaming or praising yourself for everything. It's about owning your life, your choices, and your future without throwing your power away to circumstances, people, or situations. Excuses feel easier because they shift the blame outward. It's tempting to say, "It's because of my background," or "the economy is bad," or "I didn't have the right opportunities." But when you make excuses, you give away your control. You become a passenger instead of the driver of your life. Personal responsibility flips that script. It's the moment you look in the mirror and say, what can I do differently? What actions can I take today that will push me forward? Taking responsibility means you accept that while you cannot control everything around you, you can control how you respond. That response is the seed for change. Owning your actions and outcomes builds strength. It helps you build resilience because you learn from your mistakes instead of hiding behind reasons why things didn't work. This mindset shift is vital because life won't always be easy or fair. Everyone faces setbacks, but the difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck lies in the willingness to say, I am responsible for my growth. You don't wait for others to fix your problems or make your dreams come true. You take the wheel and steer through the storms. This change is not about beating yourself up or being harsh. It's about honesty with yourself. When you catch yourself thinking or saying excuses, pause and ask, what part of this situation am I responsible for? What small step can I take right now? This practice turns excuses into action plans. It puts your focus on what you can do instead of what's out of your hands. That shift in thinking recharges your motivation and renews your hope. Personal responsibility also creates confidence. When you realize your success depends on your decisions, you stop waiting for permission or perfect conditions. You become proactive. That sense of control over your life is empowering. It means your future is shaped by your choices, not by luck or someone else's approval. You start to feel a fire inside that pushes you to keep trying, keep learning, and keep improving. Sometimes personal responsibility requires tough conversations with yourself. It means looking deeply at the habits, fears, or beliefs that hold you back and saying, I am accountable for changing this. It might feel uncomfortable at first because it's easier to blame others or circumstances, but comfort doesn't grow progress, responsibility does. The more you practice it, the clearer your path becomes because you're no longer distracted by stories that keep you stuck. This mindset also teaches patience with yourself. Taking responsibility doesn't mean instant success or no setbacks. It means accepting the journey and the effort it requires. When you face obstacles, instead of giving up or making excuses, you ask yourself what you can learn and how you can adapt. That attitude turns failures into stepping stones. It builds grit, the kind of inner toughness that pushes through difficult times. The habit of responsibility reaches beyond your goals and impacts all areas of life. Relationships improve because you communicate honestly and hold yourself accountable. Work becomes more meaningful because you take ownership of your tasks and results. Even your health and well-being benefit when you stop blaming genetics or environment and start taking charge of your habits. This kind of ownership frees you from feeling like a victim and places you in the driver's seat where your actions lead to results. It's important to remember that responsibility is not about perfection. No one is perfect and everyone makes mistakes. What matters is how quickly you own those mistakes and choose to fix them. Excuses delay growth and keep you stuck in the past. Responsibility pushes you forward, learning from every experience. That mindset separates those who dream from those who achieve. Replacing excuses with responsibility is a practice. It's a daily decision to stop giving away your power. It's about seeing challenges as invitations to grow, not reasons to quit. That shift in perspective is what makes success possible. It's not the circumstances around you that determine your future. It's how you respond to them. Every time you say, I'm responsible for this, you're telling yourself that you have control, you have options, and you have the strength to move forward. This mindset doesn't just change your outcomes. It changes who you are. It builds character, self-respect, and an unshakable belief in your ability to handle whatever life throws at you. You stop waiting for things to be easier or better, and you start acting now with what you have, where you are. That's the real power of taking personal responsibility. The moment you fully embrace responsibility is the moment your mindset shifts from one of limitation to one of unlimited potential. It's the moment you begin to live intentionally, take bold steps, and create the life you want. No more excuses means no more holding back. It means stepping fully into your power and realizing that your future is created by what you decide and do today. Number 13. Feed your mind with books, not mindless scrolling. Every day, millions of people find themselves trapped in a cycle of endless scrolling on their phones or computers, flicking through social media feeds, watching videos that don't add any real value, or getting lost in meaningless content. It feels easy and sometimes even comforting in the moment, but this habit quietly drains your mind and steals precious time and energy from your life. What's harder and yet more powerful is making a conscious decision to feed your mind with something that actually builds you up. Books have been that source for centuries. They offer depth, wisdom, and ideas that shape your thinking and open doors to new possibilities. Choosing to read instead of scrolling isn't just about changing how you spend your time, it's about changing your mindset and your entire future. When your mind is filled with random images, fleeting entertainment, or surface-level opinions, it becomes cluttered and distracted. This chaos clouds your focus and dulls your ability to think deeply. On the other hand, reading books demands your attention, stretches your thinking, and invites you to engage with complex ideas. Books teach you how others have faced challenges, made decisions, and succeeded against odds. That kind of learning plants seeds in your mind that grow into stronger confidence and sharper problem-solving skills. It's like feeding your brain with real nutrients instead of junk food. Think about the difference between a mind filled with random posts versus one filled with books that teach new skills, stories of perseverance, or strategies for success. The second mind is prepared to act, innovate, and solve problems. Reading builds patience because it asks you to focus for longer periods. It enhances creativity by exposing you to new perspectives and experiences. It helps you understand human nature and the world around you better. These are the things that truly build a foundation for success, far beyond the temporary distractions of scrolling. Many people feel overwhelmed by the amount of information available today and believe that watching short videos or quick posts keeps them informed. But information without depth doesn't lead to transformation. Books, on the other hand, offer a complete journey through a subject. They allow you to explore ideas thoroughly, question assumptions, and develop your own conclusions. That process rewires your brain to think critically and independently, skills essential for any kind of success. It's natural to feel resistance when trying to break the habit of mindless scrolling. The pull of quick dopamine hits from social media is strong, and it's designed that way. But that resistance is a sign you're about to make a powerful change. When you pick up a book, you're choosing long-term growth over short-term distraction. That choice alone sets you apart from many others who settle for convenience and comfort without progress. The reward might not be instant, but over time it compounds into real wisdom, insight, and confidence. Starting a reading habit doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's better to read a few pages daily than to push yourself through a book you don't enjoy. Choose books that speak to your goals and interests. Whether it's business, psychology, history, or biographies of people who inspire you, the right book can spark motivation and new ideas. Reading aloud or taking notes can deepen your understanding and help you retain what you learn. The key is consistency and a genuine desire to grow your mind. Feeding your mind with books also creates a sense of calm and control. Instead of being pulled in many directions by endless notifications and content, reading gives you time to slow down and reflect. That calmness improves your focus and decision-making, allowing you to approach challenges with more clarity. The habit of reading regularly becomes a refuge where you recharge mentally and emotionally, so you're ready to face your goals with renewed energy. Many successful people credit their achievements to the books they read. Their mindset was shaped and sharpened by the lessons they absorbed through reading. This isn't about reading just to show off or because it's popular. It's about genuinely valuing growth and understanding that what you put in your mind determines what comes out in your actions. When your mind is full of meaningful knowledge, your conversations become richer, your ideas bolder, and your steps more confident. At times it might seem easier to give in to the comfort of scrolling, especially after a long day or when you're feeling stressed. But that moment is exactly when you need to protect your mind most. Books offer more than distraction. They offer nourishment for your spirit and intellect. They help you build mental strength, resilience, and a positive mindset that carries you through hard times. That strength is what keeps you moving forward when circumstances are tough or uncertain. Replacing scrolling with reading is not just a habit change, it's a mindset shift. It's deciding that you deserve to grow, learn, and improve every day. It's a commitment to yourself and your future. Each page you turn adds to your knowledge bank and gives you tools to create the life you want. Over time, those small moments of reading pile up into a mountain of wisdom and understanding that no algorithm or social media feed can match. Imagine the difference in your life if instead of losing hours to scrolling, you spent that time expanding your mind, discovering new ideas, and preparing yourself for success. That shift alone can change your trajectory. It's not about reading to escape reality, but about reading to change your reality. The power to do that is in your hands, in the books you choose, and the knowledge you absorb. In the end, your mindset is a reflection of what you feed it. When you consistently choose books over scrolling, you build a mind that's ready for success. A mind that's sharper, more focused, and full of confidence. A mind that sees opportunities where others see obstacles. That kind of mind doesn't happen by accident. It happens by deliberate choices and small daily habits that accumulate into lasting change. Every time you pick up a book instead of your phone, you're investing in yourself. You're saying that your future matters more than temporary distractions. You're creating a mindset that's 80% of success. That mindset isn't just about thinking positively. It's about actively shaping your thoughts, beliefs, and knowledge. It's about feeding your mind with what makes you stronger and more capable. That's where real power lies, and that's the path to lasting success. Belief is the engine that drives this process. Saying your goals without belief is like planting seeds on dry soil. Nothing will grow. Full belief means trusting that your goal is possible and that you have what it takes to reach it. This belief must be felt in your voice and attitude. The difference between saying, "I want to be successful someday," and saying, "I am becoming successful right now," is huge. The first is vague and uncertain. The second claims your goal is already in motion. That confident voice influences your brain and your behavior. It makes you more likely to act consistently toward your goal because your mind is aligned with your words. Many people avoid speaking their goals aloud because they fear failure or judgment. They worry someone will hear and think it's unrealistic or silly. That fear is normal but also misleading. The truth is, when you hold your goals in silence, only you feel the weight of doubt. When you share them aloud, even if only to yourself, it strengthens your resolve and keeps you accountable. It creates a mental contract that's harder to break. You start showing up differently in your daily life because your mind knows you've declared what you want. That declaration triggers new habits, new energy, and new focus. This practice works not just once, but every single day. Consistency is what builds momentum. Saying your goals aloud daily keeps them fresh and alive in your mind. It prevents distraction and discouragement from pulling you away. Every time you repeat your goal, your brain updates its priorities and resources toward achieving it. This repetition rewires your thinking patterns. Over time, your goal becomes part of your identity. You start thinking, feeling, and acting like the person who achieves that goal. This is the power of spoken belief. Your mind begins to expect success rather than doubt it. It's not just about reciting words mechanically. The way you say your goals matters deeply. Use strong positive language. Speak with confidence and excitement, as if the goal is already happening. Visualize yourself living that reality while you speak. Feel the emotions that come with success: pride, joy, peace. That emotional connection makes your spoken goals more impactful. It convinces your subconscious mind that the goal is not just a future possibility, but a current reality in progress. This emotional engagement is what turns words into actions. Some people make the mistake of speaking goals that feel impossible or disconnected from their current reality, which leads to disbelief or frustration. Start with goals that genuinely matter to you and that you can believe in. Break bigger goals into smaller, believable steps. Speak those smaller goals aloud and celebrate progress along the way. This creates a chain reaction of success and motivation. Your mind loves building on wins, no matter how small. Speaking your goals aloud daily gives you a steady stream of these wins and reinforces your belief in yourself. There's also a social aspect to speaking your goals aloud. Sharing your goals with trusted people can build support and encouragement. It invites others to hold you accountable and cheer you on. But the most crucial part happens internally, the conversation you have with yourself every morning or night. That private dialogue shapes your mindset, emotions, and decisions. Speaking your goals aloud makes your inner voice a powerful ally rather than a source of doubt. It reminds you daily why you're working hard and what you're moving toward. Many successful people swear by this practice. They start their day by declaring their goals with passion and certainty. This habit primes their mind for action and success. It's not magic, it's psychology. Your brain responds to repeated statements with increased focus and determination. This daily ritual becomes a foundation that supports every other effort you make to improve your life. Without it, goals often remain wishes, easily forgotten or pushed aside. Saying your goals aloud also helps you overcome fear and uncertainty. When fears try to creep in, the habit of repeating your goals with belief pushes those fears away. It reminds your mind that you are capable and on a clear path. This mental strength builds resilience, so you can face setbacks without losing sight of your destination. It's a constant source of motivation and clarity in moments when giving up feels easier. Starting this habit today means choosing to believe in yourself and your dreams. It means breaking the silence and bringing your goals out into the open, where they can grow and thrive. The voice you hear when you say your goals aloud is the voice that guides your actions and shapes your future. Treat it with care and power. Speak with conviction every day, even if some days feel harder than others. Each word spoken in belief is a step forward on your path to success. Speaking your goals aloud is a simple, free, and effective tool available to anyone willing to try. It costs nothing but time and courage. The return on this investment is enormous: a mindset ready for success, a clearer direction, and a stronger belief in your ability to achieve what you set out to do. Your goals deserve to be heard. Your future deserves your voice. Let that voice carry your dreams forward with power and purpose. Number 15. Meditate to strengthen focus and emotional discipline. Most people live their days feeling like their minds are constantly pulling them in every direction. Thoughts rush in uncontrollably, emotions spike unexpectedly, and distractions invade every moment. It's a common struggle to sit down, concentrate, and keep a steady mindset when life feels chaotic. This constant noise, both outside and inside, wears people down, making it hard to think clearly, make smart choices, or stay emotionally balanced. But there is a simple and proven way to build mental strength and emotional discipline: meditation. Meditation isn't just some fancy practice for monks or spiritual gurus. It's a powerful tool for anyone serious about success, focus, and emotional control. Starting with meditation can feel intimidating because people think it means sitting still for hours, clearing their minds completely, or shutting out every thought. That's not true. Meditation is about training your mind like you train your body. Just like lifting weights builds muscle, sitting quietly and paying attention builds mental muscle. It teaches you to notice when your mind drifts and gently bring it back. This daily mental exercise improves your ability to focus deeply on any task, avoid distractions, and stay calm under pressure. These skills are essential in the real world, where distractions are everywhere and stress hits hard. When people face difficult challenges, their emotions often get out of control. Frustration turns to anger, doubt turns to fear, and these feelings cloud judgment. Meditation creates a space where you can observe your emotions without being controlled by them. It's like stepping back from the storm instead of being caught inside it. This emotional discipline makes it easier to respond wisely to problems rather than react impulsively. Over time, meditation helps you build patience, resilience, and clarity, qualities that leaders and successful people depend on every day. The reality for most people is they never stop to train their mind. They push harder physically, but ignore the mental side. This imbalance leads to burnout, poor decisions, and scattered efforts. Meditation balances this by strengthening the mind's ability to stay present and calm. It clears away mental clutter so you can think clearly about your goals and priorities. When the mind is less distracted, productivity naturally improves. You waste less time chasing random thoughts or reacting to small annoyances. Instead, your mental energy goes directly toward what matters. Meditation also improves your awareness of yourself. Many people don't realize how often their own thoughts sabotage them with negative self-talk, doubts, and fears. Meditation shines a light on these patterns, giving you a chance to catch them early. When you become aware of negative thinking, you can choose to change it instead of letting it run your day. This self-awareness builds confidence and helps you stay focused on solutions rather than problems. It's like having a coach inside your head guiding you to think and act more effectively. One of the most powerful effects of meditation is how it builds consistency in your mindset. Success is rarely about one big burst of effort. It's about showing up, day after day, with steady focus and emotional balance. Meditation prepares your mind to do just that. By practicing daily, even for just a few minutes, you develop mental habits that protect you from distractions and emotional ups and downs. This consistency leads to sustained progress, even when external circumstances get tough or unpredictable. The beginning is often the hardest part. Sitting quietly with your thoughts feels uncomfortable because the mind is used to constant stimulation, phones, social media, noise, and busyness. When those stop, you become aware of restlessness, worries, and tension. This is normal and a sign that meditation is working. The mind is learning to observe these feelings without getting lost in them. With regular practice, those restless moments shorten and your mind gains calmness. You learn to return your attention to the present moment, no matter what happens around you. Meditation is not about escaping life or avoiding problems. Instead, it's about building the mental space to face life with more clarity and strength. Imagine being able to remain calm during difficult conversations, focus fully on your work despite interruptions, or recover quickly from setbacks. Meditation builds the mental resilience that turns these possibilities into reality. It trains you to be less reactive and more thoughtful, which leads to better choices and stronger results. It's important to realize meditation is a skill that grows over time. There's no instant success, but every session adds value. Some days you may feel distracted or restless, and other days peaceful and focused. Both are part of the process. The key is making meditation a daily habit, just like brushing your teeth or exercising. That daily commitment shapes your mind and emotions in ways nothing else can. It creates a foundation for all your other efforts towards success. You don't need special equipment, a perfect setting, or hours of free time. Starting with just 5 minutes a day is enough to begin rewiring your brain. You can sit in a chair, lie down, or even walk slowly while paying attention to your breath or body sensations. The goal is simple. Notice when your mind wanders and gently bring it back. This gentle returning builds mental strength and discipline. As this practice deepens, it also increases your ability to stay focused during high-pressure moments and to recover from emotional setbacks faster. Many successful people credit meditation with improving their focus, decision-making, and emotional control. It's not a coincidence. When the mind is trained and disciplined, it works better. Problems feel less overwhelming, distractions lose power, and goals come into sharper view. You become a person who chooses how to think and feel instead of being controlled by outside circumstances or internal chaos. This kind of mental freedom opens doors to new possibilities and greater achievements. Developing focus and emotional discipline through meditation is an investment in your most important asset, your mind. Everything you want to accomplish depends on your ability to think clearly and stay steady emotionally. Without this foundation, progress is slow and difficult. With it, you gain confidence, clarity, and control. Your days become more productive, your challenges more manageable, and your goals more achievable. Meditation transforms the way you show up in life, making success not just a hope, but a consistent reality. The power to strengthen your focus and emotional discipline lies in your hands. Making meditation a regular practice is one of the simplest and most effective ways to build this power. It rewires your brain to work with you, not against you. This mental training makes distractions less tempting, stress less overwhelming, and emotions less turbulent. It sets the stage for lasting success by creating a calm, clear, and focused mind ready for action. The path to success is not just about what you do, it's about how your mind works while you do it. Meditation sharpens that mind, giving you the emotional balance and focus needed to move steadily toward your goals. It's a daily choice to prioritize your mental strength, no matter how busy life gets or how chaotic things feel. This choice builds a foundation so solid that challenges no longer shake you and progress becomes natural. Meditation is a tool that anyone can use, starting today, to turn a distracted, stressed mind into a focused and disciplined force for success. Building this kind of belief isn't about arrogance or pretending you are perfect. It's about accepting yourself fully, including your flaws and weaknesses, while still committing to growth. Many people confuse self-worth with being flawless, and when they stumble, their belief in themselves crumbles. True belief in your worth embraces imperfection, but holds firm on your value as a person. This creates a stable mental environment where you can grow without fear of losing who you are. The process of believing in your worth starts with awareness. Notice how often your mind questions your value or compares you to others. These thoughts are not facts, they are habits that can be changed. You can choose to replace doubt with affirmations of your value. Repeating simple statements like, "I am worthy," "I deserve success," or "I am enough" might feel strange at first, but over time they reprogram your thinking. This positive reinforcement is like watering a seed. It nurtures the belief until it grows strong enough to guide your actions. Another key aspect is surrounding yourself with reminders and influences that reinforce your worth. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, and the goals you set all shape your self-image. Being around supportive, encouraging people helps solidify your belief in yourself. Engaging with inspiring stories or messages builds a mental environment that nurtures confidence. Setting goals that align with your values, rather than others' expectations, makes your worth more tangible and personal. When you truly believe in your worth before proof, it changes how you communicate with yourself and others. You speak with more confidence, set healthier boundaries, and express your ideas without hesitation. This self-assurance attracts opportunities and positive relationships because people respond to genuine confidence. They sense when someone values themselves deeply, and it builds trust and respect. This alone can open doors that skill or experience alone may not. It's important to remember that this belief is not something you achieve once and then forget about. It's a daily practice and a lifelong commitment. Doubts will always try to creep in, especially during hard times, But each day that you choose to believe in your worth without waiting for proof, you reinforce a powerful mindset that propels you forward. Over time, this inner conviction becomes unshakable and supports everything you do. The world does not owe anyone proof of their worth. Waiting for someone else to validate you is a losing game because external validation is unreliable and often delayed. The quickest way to progress is to give yourself that validation first. Own your value before the world sees it. This mindset shifts your energy from waiting and hoping to acting and believing. It fuels your efforts with confidence and patience. This belief keeps you moving steadily through challenges, rejection, and uncertainty, knowing that your worth is not defined by circumstances. Many people who reach high levels of success share one common secret: they believed in their worth long before any external signs confirmed it. This belief carried them through failures, criticism, and long periods of invisibility. It gave them the courage to keep going when most would quit. This mindset isn't reserved for a few lucky people. It's a choice available to everyone willing to commit to seeing their own value first. The moment you decide to believe in yourself fully, even without proof, you step into a new level of power. When your worth is not dependent on proof, fear loses its grip. Fear of failure, rejection, or inadequacy no longer controls your decisions. Instead, you operate from a place of inner strength and calm confidence. You become willing to take risks that lead to growth and new possibilities. This mindset also attracts others who recognize your confidence and want to support or join your journey. Belief in your worth is contagious, and it creates momentum towards success. This belief transforms how you approach every goal and challenge. Instead of doubting your ability or fearing judgment, you engage with determination and faith in yourself. You become more patient with your progress, understanding that your worth is constant, even if results fluctuate. This patience leads to more consistent efforts and better outcomes. The mindset creates a foundation for long-term success because it's based on who you are, not just what you achieve. Your worth is the soil from which every action, decision, and achievement grows. Without believing in this worth first, every step forward feels fragile and uncertain. But when you accept and embrace your value right now, you gain a steady foundation that supports your ambitions and dreams. This belief is the silent force behind every accomplishment and breakthrough. It is the mindset that shapes success into something real and lasting. The choice to believe in your worth before proof is the choice to stop living by others' opinions and start living by your own truth. It's the decision to show up fully, no matter what external circumstances say. This mindset sets you apart and gives you the strength to keep moving forward, regardless of the obstacles. It's the first step toward making your dreams a reality and living a life where your confidence and success come from within. Number 17. Expect progress, not perfection, from every effort. Life is filled with moments where we expect ourselves to be flawless, where every step forward feels like it has to be the perfect one. That's a tough reality many people face, the pressure to achieve perfection in every task, every decision, and every action. This pressure paralyzes more dreams than any obstacle ever could. The truth is, waiting for perfection will keep you stuck longer than any fear or setback. The mindset that makes success possible isn't about perfection, it's about expecting progress, even if it's imperfect and slow. Almost everyone knows the frustration of feeling like their efforts aren't good enough. When you aim for perfection, any small mistake feels like failure. That feeling creates doubt, anxiety, and often leads to giving up. The harder you push for flawless results, the more you expose yourself to disappointment. Real growth, however, isn't about never making mistakes. It's about moving forward consistently, even when things aren't perfect. Success builds gradually from small improvements, not giant leaps of flawlessness. When you shift your expectation from perfection to progress, you allow yourself room to learn, to try new things, and to grow stronger. Progress means focusing on what you're doing right now, no matter how small the step. It means acknowledging that every effort counts and that getting closer to your goals is more important than how quickly or perfectly you get there. This mindset turns every day into a chance to improve instead of a pass or fail test. It releases you from the grip of self-criticism and fuels motivation instead. One of the biggest blocks to progress is the fear of making mistakes. People avoid starting or pushing ahead because they worry their work won't be perfect the first time. This fear creates a standstill where no progress happens. When you expect progress rather than perfection, mistakes become valuable lessons. They are signals that you're growing and pushing beyond your comfort zone. The moments you think you've failed are often the same moments where the most growth happens. Without expecting progress, you miss out on these powerful opportunities to build resilience and wisdom. Expecting progress means accepting that your journey will have ups and downs. You might feel like you're moving backward sometimes, but even those moments are part of progress. When you encounter setbacks or challenges, you learn how to adjust your approach and get stronger. This ongoing cycle of trying, failing, learning, and trying again is what leads to success. If you focus only on perfection, setbacks become reasons to quit. But if you focus on progress, setbacks become stepping stones. When you embrace progress over perfection, your mindset becomes one of patience and persistence. You don't expect overnight success or instant mastery. Instead, you celebrate the small wins and use them as fuel to keep going. Each small improvement builds momentum, which pushes you closer to your goals. This momentum is what keeps you moving forward, even when results aren't immediately visible. Progress might be slow or uneven, but it is always forward, and that's what counts. Many successful people didn't become experts overnight. They got where they are because they kept going, day after day, improving a little at a time. They weren't perfect from the start, but they didn't quit because things weren't flawless. They understood that perfection is an impossible standard, and instead chose to focus on progress. This mindset allowed them to keep growing, keep learning, and keep achieving. The power of progress lies in its consistency, not its speed or perfection. Another important aspect of expecting progress is learning to be kind to yourself. When you focus on perfection, it's easy to get caught up in harsh self-judgment. You criticize yourself for every flaw, every mistake, every time you fall short. This harshness drains your energy and confidence, but when you expect progress, you develop compassion for your own journey. You understand that growth takes time and that setbacks don't define you. This kindness fuels motivation because it creates a safe mental space for trying and improving without fear. The expectation of progress also changes how you set your goals. Instead of rigid, unrealistic targets that demand perfect results, you set goals that encourage steady improvement. These goals focus on what you can control, your effort, your learning, your daily habits. They emphasize doing the best you can today, not delivering perfect outcomes every time. This approach keeps you engaged and optimistic, making your goals feel achievable rather than overwhelming. You build confidence through accomplishment, which then leads to more progress. Expecting progress means understanding that mastery and excellence are lifelong pursuits. No one arrives fully formed with perfect skills or knowledge. Instead, every person on the path of success keeps growing and refining themselves. This mindset frees you from the trap of comparison, where you measure yourself against others' successes or standards. When you focus on your own progress, you pay attention to how far you've come instead of how far you still have to go. This perspective keeps you grounded and motivated. It's important to notice how your mindset influences the quality of your work and your emotional well-being. Expecting perfection creates pressure and stress, which can cause burnout and reduce creativity. Expecting progress creates flow and engagement, which leads to better work and more satisfaction. When you let go of needing everything to be perfect, you open up space for innovation and problem solving. You become more flexible and adaptable, qualities that are essential for long-term success. One practical way to cultivate the mindset of expecting progress is to track your improvements regularly. Writing down your small wins, new skills learned, or obstacles overcome creates a visible record of your growth. This evidence reminds you that you are moving forward even when it feels slow. It builds a sense of achievement and encourages you to keep putting in the work. When progress is clear, it becomes easier to stay motivated and confident in your ability to reach your goals. Another strategy is to break big goals into smaller, manageable steps. Large goals can feel overwhelming and perfection-driven because of their size, but when you divide your goals into smaller actions, each step feels doable and less intimidating. You can focus on completing one task at a time, celebrating each small success. This approach keeps progress steady and visible, preventing the discouragement that comes with unrealistic expectations. It helps build momentum that leads to bigger achievements. Expecting progress over perfection also means being open to feedback and learning. Perfectionist mindsets often reject criticism because it feels like a judgment on worth or ability. But when you focus on progress, feedback becomes a tool for improvement rather than a threat. You listen carefully, adjust and try again. This openness accelerates growth because you use every experience, positive or negative, to get better. It builds humility and resilience, qualities essential for lasting success. The reality is that nobody achieves anything worthwhile without mistakes, setbacks and moments of doubt. Perfection is a myth that traps many people in inaction. Progress is real, measurable, and attainable. It's the steady, imperfect steps that build success. When you expect progress, you take pressure off yourself and replace it with encouragement. You turn the journey into a process of learning and growth rather than a final exam to pass. This mindset empowers you to keep going, no matter how challenging the path becomes. You have the power to choose what you expect from yourself every day. Will you demand perfection that leads to frustration and fear, or will you expect progress that fuels motivation and resilience? When you expect progress, you create a mindset that supports action, learning, and persistence. This mindset becomes your most reliable ally on the road to success. It keeps you moving forward, even when things don't go perfectly. It turns effort into achievement and setbacks into stepping stones. Expect progress, and you will find that your journey becomes less about fear and more about growth. You will notice your confidence increase because every day you see yourself getting better. You will develop patience because you understand that true success is built over time, not instantly. This mindset gives you permission to be human, to make mistakes, and still move forward. The key is consistency. Make celebrating small wins a daily practice, not just an occasional event. Each day holds opportunities for progress, and recognizing those moments regularly creates a pattern of success. This consistency builds a foundation of confidence and energy that sustains you even when challenges arise. Momentum doesn't come from luck or sudden breakthroughs. It comes from persistent, intentional effort and acknowledgement of progress. When you start celebrating small wins, you'll notice a change in your mindset. You'll begin to see progress everywhere, in your habits, skills, relationships, and mindset. This positive outlook transforms how you approach obstacles. Instead of feeling discouraged by setbacks, you see them as temporary hurdles because you know you have a track record of wins behind you. That confidence pushes you forward and opens doors to new opportunities. In your pursuit of success, the ability to celebrate every small win becomes one of your greatest strengths. It keeps your spirits high, fuels your motivation, and builds the momentum needed for larger achievements. It's a simple yet powerful strategy that turns effort into energy and setbacks into stepping stones. Every small win is a building block that supports the structure of your success. This approach is not just theory, it's a practical mindset that successful people use every day. They don't wait for perfect moments or huge breakthroughs to celebrate. They acknowledge every positive step and use that energy to move faster and further. The momentum built by celebrating small wins turns into unstoppable forward motion that carries them through challenges and closer to their goals. The truth is, success is a journey made up of countless small victories. When you appreciate and celebrate those victories, you transform your mindset, your motivation, and your results. The momentum that builds from this habit moves you faster than frustration or fear ever could. By valuing every small win, you empower yourself to achieve more and sustain the drive needed to reach your highest potential. Number 19. See problems as puzzles waiting to be solved. When life throws you a problem, the immediate reaction for many people is frustration, confusion, or even fear. It's natural to feel overwhelmed because problems often feel like roadblocks blocking your path. But here's the truth. Problems aren't enemies. They are puzzles waiting to be solved. This shift in perspective is not just a feel-good idea. It changes how your mind works, how you handle challenges, and ultimately how much success you achieve. When you see problems as puzzles, you start engaging your brain differently. Instead of shutting down or panicking, you start thinking critically and creatively. Your energy moves from stress to solution, and that's where growth happens. Most people avoid problems or hope they disappear on their own. That's a trap that keeps you stuck in the same place, struggling with the same issues over and over. Problems don't vanish by ignoring them. The moment you accept that problems are puzzles to be solved, you take control. This mindset gives you power instead of powerlessness. It pushes you to break down the issue, piece by piece, until you find the solution. The process may take time, but every step forward is progress. Viewing problems this way encourages patience, persistence, and curiosity, qualities essential for lasting success. Seeing problems as puzzles also changes your emotional response. Instead of feeling helpless or anxious, you become more curious and engaged. You start asking questions. What is causing this? What are the parts of this problem? What can I do next? This mental shift makes challenges less intimidating. It turns problems into something manageable. You may still face difficulty, but you're no longer paralyzed by fear. This mindset builds resilience because it trains you to face difficulties with confidence, knowing that every problem has a solution waiting to be found. When you approach problems as puzzles, you become more resourceful. You look for clues and gather information. You try different methods and test ideas until something works. This experimentation is vital because it opens doors to innovation and creative thinking. Many breakthroughs in life and business come from people who didn't give up on their problems, but kept searching for answers. The puzzle mindset makes you a problem solver rather than a problem avoider, and that changes everything. The puzzle approach also helps you avoid blaming others or feeling like a victim. When problems appear, it's easy to point fingers or feel unfairly treated. But focusing on solving the puzzle directs your energy inward. You start looking at what you can control and influence. This sense of personal responsibility empowers you to take action. It stops you from wasting energy on excuses or complaints. Instead, you invest your time in finding ways forward, which accelerates your progress. This mindset doesn't mean ignoring emotions or pretending problems don't hurt. It's about acknowledging the challenge, but choosing to focus on solutions rather than the pain. It's natural to feel disappointment or frustration, but the puzzle view helps you manage those feelings and not let them control your decisions. You become more emotionally disciplined, which keeps you steady even in tough situations. Seeing problems as puzzles also encourages you to be patient and persistent. Some puzzles take time to solve. They require trial and error, learning from mistakes, and adjusting strategies. This patience is critical because success rarely comes overnight. When you know that every problem is part of a bigger puzzle you're working on, you stay committed through the ups and downs. You trust the process instead of quitting when things get tough. This mindset transforms the way you handle setbacks. Instead of seeing failure as the end, you view it as feedback on the puzzle. Each mistake is a clue, a hint that guides you toward the right solution. This attitude reduces fear of failure and encourages experimentation. You try new things, take risks, and learn faster. That's how people build success, by solving problems one piece at a time. When you see problems as puzzles, you also become more open to help and collaboration. Sometimes, puzzles are too complex to solve alone. Recognizing this leads you to seek advice, work with others, or learn new skills. You become humble enough to admit you don't have all the answers, but confident enough to keep searching. This balance between independence and collaboration is powerful for growth. Problems also teach you valuable lessons when you treat them as puzzles. Each challenge reveals weaknesses to improve, gaps to fill, and strengths to build. This learning process makes you wiser and better prepared for future challenges. Over time, you develop a mindset where problems are welcomed as opportunities to grow rather than obstacles to avoid. That's a mindset that fuels success in every area of life. In practical terms, solving problems like puzzles means breaking them down into smaller parts. Instead of trying to fix everything at once, focus on one piece at a time. Identify what you know, what you don't know, and what you can do next. This step-by-step approach prevents overwhelm and keeps you moving forward. It makes complex issues feel manageable and increases your confidence as you find solutions. Another benefit of this mindset is that it sharpens your critical thinking skills. The more puzzles you solve, the better you become at analyzing situations, identifying patterns, and making decisions. This mental training makes you more effective in business, relationships, and personal growth. It turns problem-solving into a habit that supports your success long-term. It's also important to remember that some puzzles have multiple solutions. When you see problems this way, you become open to exploring different paths. You stop thinking there's only one right answer and become flexible and creative. This openness leads to better outcomes because you're not stuck in rigid thinking. You adapt, innovate, and find the best ways forward. Finally, this mindset fosters a sense of accomplishment and confidence. Each problem solved is a win. It proves to you that you can overcome challenges and that you're capable of more than you thought. These wins build a foundation of self-belief that carries you through future difficulties. You become someone who faces problems head-on with determination and optimism, which is essential for long-lasting success. Understanding problems as puzzles waiting to be solved changes everything. It transforms your mindset, your emotions, and your actions. It turns challenges into opportunities for growth, learning, and progress. This way of thinking builds resilience, creativity, and confidence. It keeps you moving forward when others give up. It empowers you to take control of your life and craft the success you desire. The next time a problem arises, don't let it overwhelm you. See it as a puzzle, break it down, and solve it piece by piece. That is how success is built, one solution at a time. Just like physical training involves rest and recovery, your mind needs moments of stillness and reflection. Without rest, the mind becomes fatigued and inefficient. Incorporating quiet time, meditation, or even simple deep breathing exercises allows your brain to reset and build new connections. This recovery strengthens your mental endurance and creativity, preparing you for the next challenge. Mental training also includes learning and growth. Athletes study their techniques, watch videos, and seek feedback. Your mind grows stronger when you continually learn new things and stretch beyond comfort zones. Challenging yourself to read, listen to ideas, or practice new skills builds mental agility and confidence. The brain thrives on novelty and challenge, so mental training is a lifelong journey. Surrounding yourself with positive influences is like having a good training environment for your mind. Negative people, toxic environments, or bad habits act like weights holding you down. Protecting your mental space and spending time with people who inspire, challenge, and support you is vital. This mental environment nurtures growth and keeps your mind motivated and energized. It's important to track your mental progress, just like an athlete tracks physical results. Notice improvements in focus, patience, mood, and decision-making. Celebrate small wins and use setbacks as feedback to adjust your mental workouts. This awareness keeps you accountable and helps you fine-tune your training. Finally, training your mind builds confidence. Knowing that you can control your thoughts, manage stress, and stay focused even under pressure gives you a powerful edge. Confidence comes from competence and preparation, not luck or chance. When your mind is trained, you approach challenges with calm assurance and clear strategy. You don't fear uncertainty because you trust your mental strength to handle it. The truth is, success is not a product of chance or talent alone. It's a result of how well you train your mind every day. Like an athlete building a strong, reliable body, you must build a strong, reliable mind. This requires commitment, discipline, and patience. Mental training is the foundation that supports all your goals, decisions, and actions. When you train your mind like an athlete trains the body, you unlock your full potential and create a life of strength, clarity, and achievement.